daughter to clarify some things that we were texting back and forth about, but she didn't answer the phone. A moment later, I get a message. Mom, I'm eating, just text me. So let me get this straight. She can put down her sandwich, pick up the phone, send me that text, but she can't press a stupid button on her phone to answer me? What the heck, right? Now, before some of you say, okay, boomer, I'll have you know that I'm a Gen Xer, hence my sarcastic derision. And I know, multi-generational communication has existed probably since time immemorial, and it's made for great fodder for internet memes. And I love this stuff, because if you think about it, whenever we came of age is going to have a big impact on how we perceive the world. And today I'm going to try to share with you some of the things that I've learned from our different generations and how we communicate. So as you can see, you start off with the silent or traditional generation. They are the ones who are known for their hard work ethic and respect for authority, which made them middle-aged by the time they were 20. You know their story. They walked uphill both ways in the snow to school barefoot and never complained about it. Then we've got the baby boomers, large generation, known for their idealism and optimism, peace signing their way through the world. They invented helicopter parenting and ruined the millennials by giving them trophies for participation. Then we get the Gen X. They're the middle child. Nobody really pays much attention to them, but they don't care. They're the latchkey kids. They're known for their cynicism and sarcasm, snarky, right? And they're the last generation who burned their butts on hot slides in the summer. Then we've got the millennials, or Gen Y. Millennials are the inventors of avocado toast and selfies. And FOMO and YOLO. Do you know what that is? You're missing out. You only live once. You only live once. They basically now are facing a little less FOMO as they start raising kids. And they always treasured experiences over possessions. We've got Gen Z, also known as Centennials or Zoomers. They are the true digital natives, born with an iPad in their hand. They are addicted to social media and have been known to walk into a wall once or twice, also known as insta-blocking. And then finally, we've got Gen Alpha. Anybody who's 12 and under, we'll be able to knock them in a few years' time. So how does this impact communication? Well, we know that it does. If you think about it, pretty much the whole 20th century, up and including Gen X, people communicated in basically three ways. You either met somebody in person, or you sent a letter, and I know, my daughter doesn't even know where the stamp goes. Or you called somebody on the phone, and most people had one phone per family. If you called somebody, you had to follow a protocol. You had to greet the person, identify yourself, and then ask to speak to the desired party. And screening calls didn't really become a thing until caller ID was invented somewhere in the 80s, early 90s. So what happened? I'll tell you what happened. The millennials happened. No, I'm just kidding. I like knocking on the millennials. But basically you had the advent of new technology. Now you had the possibility of having a cell phone where you bypassed everything. And you had the freedom of contacting the desired party. But with this new freedom came a loss of certain skills. You no longer had to think on your feet, but rather you could mull on a response or even crowdsource to get the best reply. The problem is that these younger generations started avoiding making phone calls like the plague. I can tell you my daughter once took half a day off of work in order to go to the university rather than make a phone call to the student aid office. And the phobia is real. It's even impacted all other generations. Have you noticed how we have to make an appointment to make a phone call? And if you call somebody out of the blue, it's like, and you're not dying or it's an emergency, it's like, hello? Right? It's incredible. Now the problem is that this over technological impulse has taken away from these important skills that we definitely need. I read a Harris poll last year that companies are losing about $1.2 trillion due to faulty communication. And think about it, if you're spending a lot more time on asynchronous written communication versus verbal real-time communication, you're not gonna be as effective. Just think of my daughter, who's half a day. And I read that there's a lady who's charging $500 an hour to teach millennials and Zoomers how to talk on the phone.
Wow.
I want a piece of that.
Me too.
So anyhow, not to make this so serious, going back to the communication piece, with a little bit of coaching and a lot of nagging, my daughter finally is less afraid to make phone calls. She actually even video calls me now. And I just want to ask each and every one of you to please, when your mom calls you on the phone, just answer the